Hello again. Today we're going to talk about working in Turkey, the basics of labor law, and what are your legal rights. First question we have here is, do I need a work permit to be able to work in Turkey? The answer is an absolute yes. And if you worked or working in Turkey and your employer don't provide you or didn't provide you your work permit, we can start a legal case against him or her and get your compensation and work permit for you. And also, if you worked before or working and if your employment contract is terminated, we can get your legal rights. And the next question we have is, what are the legal rights that I can get if I get fired? Three basic things we can get. The payments we didn't get before, like wage that you haven't get your payment, the overtime payments, and the compensations sourced by your termination, and also your social security rights in case, for example, your employer didn't make your registration to social security institution. We can get all your compensations. And what are the types of employment contracts in Turkish labor law? It can be full-time or part-time. It can be definite or indefinite term. It can be permanent or temporary. And it can be work upon call. And the other most asked question is there a trial period in Turkish labor law? Or what is the maximum trial period can be stated in the employment contract? Yes, we have a trial period in labor law, but it can be maximum 2 months, no more. I can see sometimes employers can put 3, 4, 5 months even, but it's not legal, it's not valid. The maximum trial period of the employment contract in Turkish labor law is 2 months. So if your contract say more, it's not valid. And if your contract gets terminated after, for example, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, it doesn't matter what your contract say, it's not trial anymore, and you can get your legal rights. And what should I be careful about when I'm signing an employment contract? What should I be considered as important? So, first legal tip I should give you is the employment contract must be given to employee in written form. So please ask for one copy for yourself, and they have to give it to you legally. And the other important contract tip is being careful about the competition clauses. What does this mean? Parties can put a non-competition clause to the contracts that says you cannot work or give consultancy service or be partner or even establish a company in the same market can be considered as competitor as the employer before, during, and even sometimes after the contract ends. In the beginning, it may not be seen as important things as it is, but for example, you put this non-competition clause to the contract. It says 2 years after the contract is terminated. For example, after you end your relationship with this employer, you will not be able to work in Turkish market in the same market, or if you try to work, you will have to pay compensation to your ex-employer, and I promise you it won't feel very good. So I strongly recommend you to be careful about the non-competition clauses in your contracts. The next question is, how is the contract terminated in Turkish labor law? The answer is both parties must notify each other with a legal notice and give each other a time period before the termination so the other party make the necessary preparations. In that case, you don't or the employer don't give this time, you must pay or they must pay compensation for the notice period. The length of the notice period depends on the length of the employment contract. What are the legal timeline of the work life in Turkey? So, what are the working hours? What are the holidays? For a full-time worker, 45 hours a week is the maximum period of the work. So, the work hours above the 45 hours will be considered as overtime and you will get paid 1.5 times of your salary for the 1 hour you spend on your overtime work. Employer has two choices here. He can or she can give you 1.5 times of your salary as your work hours payment, or he can give you 1.5 times with your free time. For example, if you spend 4 hours overtime, he have to give you 6 hours payment or 6 hours of free time for the next working day. So employer has this choice, but at the end of the day, he or she have to give it to you no matter what. There are 6 public holidays in Turkish labor system. It's January 1st, the 23rd of April, 1st of May, 19th of May, 30th of August, and 29th of October. These are the public holidays of the Turkish labor system. And the employee has maximum 8 days to use for the religious holidays. In Turkish legal system, there is equality between all religions. So if you're a Jewish or Christian, you can also use your religious holiday with informing your employer. You also have a right to use your annual holiday right each year. It must be between 14 and 26 days. It depends on how many years you have spent in this employer's company. So the more you work there, the amount of the annual holiday will be increased. And we all know that life is sometimes not fair, and employers can terminate the contracts without rightful reasons. So in that case, what are your legal rights? In that case, all your losses must be compensated by the employer, and the first one is severance pay. Severance pay can be calculated as, basically of course, 1 month of pay for each year you have spent in that company. So you can basically think that if you are working there for 5 years, you will get 5 times of your wage, monthly wage, for your severance pay. The second thing is notice pay. It will be between 2 and 8 weeks of wage. It can be changed with the amount that you have spent in that company, as same as severance pay. And if you feel that there's bad faith in that situation, for example, a personal situation there in your termination of the contract, you can ask for another compensation for that. It will be given by the court. If you are victim of a discrimination case For example, because of your sexual orientation or your religion or something like that. You can also ask for compensation for the discrimination they have made to you. And the last type of the compensation you can ask for is union compensation. If you are a working union's member and the employer terminated the contract because of that, you can also ask another compensation just for that. The other question we have, is there any difference between white collar and blue collar workers regarding labor law system? No, equality is the general rule here. There's no difference between them. And the next question is, can we use sick days off? Yes, of course you can. We are all human. But you have to prove it with doctor's report or something else. If you have to prove your situation. And let me remind you that sick days off cannot be reduced by your annual holiday days. It's your legal right, and some employers do that. It's not rightful, and if the contract ends, you can ask for this compensation also. And what if we get pregnant? What about the maternity leave? Maternity leave is regulated as 16 weeks in Turkish labor law, 8 weeks before the birth and 8 weeks after the birth is given. Also, each man whose wife has given birth can take 5 days off as maternity leave for men. I tried to give you some basic tips. There will be more detailed videos, but if you have any questions, comments, and anything you want to say to us, please leave in the comment section and we will answer. See you on the next video.